Okay, my pitch for Man of Steel 2. I've been planning this video for quite some time now, and after I talk about it, I might immediately make the next two to finish the trilogy.
Not a chance.
I'm planning on making 3 different videos for the next trilogy of Henry Cavill's Superman. And as we go on, I won't only be talking about my pitch for Henry's Superman, but I might also make videos for other characters in Snyder's universe as well. I'll try and see if I can make videos on my ideas for Ben Affleck's Batman and how I personally think his trilogy should go, as well as with the Green Lanterns, the third Wonder Woman movie and a Darkseid movie. These are some of the characters that I'm thinking of making video ideas for in Snyder's universe. And after all that, I'll also try and make 3 different videos on how I want Snyder's Endgame or Crisis to be executed. If you're on board for this, then sit tight, grab a popcorn and get ready for the videos. I personally welcome everyone, YouTubers and viewers alike, to criticize my pitch like you would if you saw it for the first time in the theaters. I welcome both Snyder fans and non-Snyder fans to tell me the flaws and strengths of my ideas in these videos. I will also try and choose the directors that want to continue the story of these characters in Snyder's universe. Now before I start, I want to first of all address 2 things. One is the idea of bringing a new actor to play Superman for the big screen, and 2 will be my brief thoughts on Man of Steel. So let's start with the first one. There's a really cool channel out there called Superframe who's made interesting videos on Superman, how he thinks the character should be portrayed on the big screen, and how he perceives Snyder's overall take on the hero. He's made 2 videos on Snyder's depiction of Superman, and the way he views it to me is pretty spot on. He came up with exceptional reasons as to why Henry's Superman felt a little off, why he personally thinks it's a little too late for Henry's Superman, and why he will be excited for a whole new take on the character with an entirely different cast. And the ideas and story he gave for a Superman trilogy is brilliant. Even with his casting choices is so good, and honestly I don't think my own pitch for Henry Cavill and his next trilogy can top it. His take on Superman is exactly how I wanted Superman to be portrayed on the big screen from the first place, pulling huge inspirations from Jeff Johns and Gary Frank's iconic run on the character. Stories that felt simple and sweet, but inspiring and compelling at the same time. Stories that accepted everything that has to do with Superman, every character that has to do with Superman, and how he hopes that the next director does it with passion, like the way Matt Reeves is currently doing with the Batman. Plus, he also included how it would all connect and fit so well with Pattinson's universe. His choices in his videos are so great, and honestly, if DC and Warner Brothers decide to go that route, then I'm absolutely open for it. Like I said in my other video, if the Snyderverse truly ended with the Snyder Cut, and Warner Brothers wants to restart all over again with new actors, actresses, new directors and great stories, then I'm absolutely down for it. And I personally think that Superframe's take on what they should do with a new Superman movie is absolutely excellent. Now, as for Man of Steel and my thoughts on it, I still really like the movie and the ideas of what Snyder wanted to do with the character. Again, trust me, I'm fully aware of the flaws, from the neck snap to destroying a man's property to not giving Amy Adams anything to work with in any of his movies, all the way to stupidly killing Jimmy Olsen. Despite all this, I still like the movie and what it was building up for Henry Superman in the future, or at least what I think it was building up to. I could be reaching too far here. My ideas and pitch could be vastly different from whatever Snyder is thinking. What mainly pisses me off about Snyder's take is the characters and stories he has destroyed from being told in his universe. And it's not just Superman, the same goes for his Batman. Thanks to the choices he has now made, he cut so many compelling stories around these characters. And I think that's mainly why a lot of YouTubers and comic book fans just want a reboot and a do-over. But to me, his universe still has its strengths. And depending on how the next stories are told in the future, it could be remembered as some of the best stories ever told. Despite the flaws of Man of Steel, the biggest strength the movie had for me was that it was all a mistake that Clark was making in his early years, and the failure to reach out to the people against him. The way I personally saw Man of Steel is that it was a failure for Superman. Not reaching out and convincing Zod that there was another way and killing him was the point of the movie. And moving forward, the next encounters and battles will show just how he has learned from his previous failure. Personally, I wish Superman didn't kill Zod. As a huge fan of the animated series, the comics, and Superman as a character and what he stands for, I really wish the outcome of Man of Steel was done a little differently. But I think Snyder wanted to make a Superman that made that mistake, and how he understands that he will never make it again with another soul in his next movies.
He had had his first outing against the last surviving member of his species, and had to kill him, and that is going to inform a lot of who he becomes. What lessons has he learned? He definitely isn't going to kill anymore, And he's definitely going to make sure that population centers are completely removed from the equation, because now he's experienced it and now he's thinking about it. And so we get those steps towards building that incredible, wise version of Superman, rather than the, still wet behind the ears kind.
The same also goes for his take on Batman, but the main difference was that one was more experienced and was doing it for years, and the other wasn't. Now, while I am trying to defend Snyder a little bit for his take, I will 100% agree that Snyder shouldn't be the director to make the sequels for Superman and Batman. The movies will still exist in his universe, but he shouldn't be the one to do it. Similar to how Patty Jenkins is in charge of Wonder Woman and James Wan is in charge of Aquaman, but they are still in his universe. Someone else needs to take charge of Superman and Batman, while Snyder only takes charge of the Darkseid and Justice League sequels. Now, I know some of you guys might not agree with me on this, but my reason for saying this is because I now realize that Snyder only works well when he's making a movie about the villain or an ensemble of characters. If you look closely at Snyder's record of filmmaking, you will come to realize that his best movies are the ones with a whole team of characters or heroes. Obviously, there will be a standout and a favorite in those movies, but you will come to see that the movie that have a whole team on board is where Snyder is at his best. As for his villains, I personally don't think I have to give any explanations. Snyder always makes sure that his villains have something to work with. Sometimes it even becomes annoying because he makes them a little bit more compelling than his heroes. And for the most part in his movies, he's really effective. For the most part.
And he's coming!
That's why I'm personally saying that the movies that Snyder should be in charge of in his universe are the Darkseid and Justice League movies, because to me this is where he shines. Of course, I'm not just saying all of this just to say it. I'm not just defending the Snyderverse and Snyder just for defending sake. Like I said, I'll be making videos on my ideas, and I'll try to make sure that I structure it in a way that everyone can understand. Now, since this is taking place in Snyder's universe, I'll have to respect Snyder's casting choices, but I'll also be adding to it as well. And I'll be using this formula for other videos in Snyder's vision. Okay, I feel like I've said enough on how I feel on Snyder's universe and his heroes, and what I'm trying to do with them moving forward. I also like to say that even if the Snyderverse doesn't get restored, I might still make these videos where I tell you guys my ideas from start to finish. Like I said, Superframe's speech for Superman in my eyes cannot be topped. I'll leave a link to his video down below if you guys want to check it out for yourself. Whether you like my pitch or not, please know that my goal for this video is to improve on what has already been established in Snyder's universe. I'm not trying to say that my own pitch is absolute. I'm not a screenwriter or an upcoming director, and I'm not saying that I'm better than one. In fact, maybe Snyder or whoever is going to direct the next Superman movie is already coming up with something a lot better. But I figured I should let you all know my own personal ideas, and while I'm still holding on to hope with this universe. If you've already seen my Man of Steel sequels video, then you already know the villain that I'm going to use for this video. But for those of you who haven't seen it yet, the villain for this one will be Bloodsport. As much as we all want Brainiac so bad in a Superman movie, I personally think that he should be saved for the last movie before Snyder's Endgame. Basically what I'm trying to say is that we shouldn't blow our load too early on Brainiac. One last thing, I would like to say that I'll try and convey my story ideas visually. What I can't do with video clips, I'll try to do with some comic pictures to get my point across. So I hope that's okay. So with that out of the way, let's dive in. We start with Lex Luthor hiring Bloodsport to kill some big business names in Metropolis. The reason being, ever since he was arrested in BVS, other big companies in Metropolis have been trying to take over his company. Lex doesn't want anyone taking a hold of his company, and he's been looking for a way to shut down his competitions for some time now. So since he just recently escaped prison in the Snyder Cut and doesn't want to be seen doing any shenanigans, he hires Bloodsport to do his bidding. Since the competition that Bloodsport is going to wipe out will be in Metropolis, Superman is obviously going to be a problem. Because he resides in Metropolis. So Lex makes sure that Bloodsport is prepared by giving him kryptonite bullets covered in lead. So basically this opening scene has given us two things. That Bloodsport has two jobs. One, to take out Lex's competition, and two, to kill Superman when he eventually gets involved. After the scenes of the antagonists, we then cut to an intense scene of people in a dangerous situation. Maybe a burning house, or an incident in an industry, or planes falling out of the sky. Just a dangerous scene that will be engaging. We get to see this dangerous situation in the eyes of the victims. Then Superman sweeps in with his black costume, saves everyone and makes it look easy. Now, I know the black costume does something entirely different in the comics, but please wait till the end of the video. Plus, again, this is Snyder's universe, and in his universe, the black costume is just there to look cool. The black costume is what he wore at the end of the Snyder Cut, so that's what we have to go off with this video. Now, once Superman saves everyone, some of the people will interact with him and say thank you before he flies away. After this, we then get a cool scene of Superman just flying around Metropolis, waving to people and going back to his apartment to meet with Lois. Now, this scene does three things. 1. We get to see just how beautiful Metropolis is. This is a personal thing, but I want Metropolis to start looking like Metropolis from the comics. I don't like the fact that Gotham looks a lot like Gotham from the comics in Batman movies, but in Superman movies, we just get a bland looking city. Metropolis from the comics is like a futuristic paradise, and I want the movies to start emulating this style as well. 2. It shows Superman interacting with the people of his city, both the strangers next door and the people he is saving. And 3. It shows that the world sees him as a hero now, not a messiah or an alien spy. Henry Superman has proven 3 times now that he is not trying to be a god or a ruler to the people of Earth, but instead just simply trying to do the right thing because he can. Trying to save people because he can. The people of Metropolis know this now. There should be no debate anymore. That's why they wave him back when he says hello. Then Clark finally meets with Lois as they are both about to leave for the Daily Planet. But before they do, I want them to interact with each other so that we can establish some things in the movie. He also notices that Lois has a sign of concern through her facial expressions. First, Clark will ask if she's okay, to which she'll reply yes. Then he tells her that they'll be visiting his mom to plan their wedding once they are done with the Daily Planet. So these few interactions and scenes will help establish some things. 1. Clark and Lois haven't gotten married yet. 2. Lois still going to the Daily Planet will be an indication that she's still in the early stages of her pregnancy. And 3. That something is bothering her, but she doesn't want to open up about it. Clark knows that something is bothering her as well, but he doesn't want to press the matter. The next scene will be at the Daily Planet to establish Clark's position in there. In the Daily Planet, Clark isn't a reporter anymore. He's been transitioned into the position of giving coffees to the workers of the planet.
What?
The reason for this situation is because the whole world thought he died in BVS. Well, technically he kinda did. But since then, they've brought in a new reporter to take his place. And that person is John Henry Irons. Yeah, some of you guys can already see where I'm going with this now. Clark, of course, will be fine with the position he has. In fact, him and Henry Irons are good friends and are getting along great. In this movie, Clark will even be grateful that he still has a job at the Daily Planet, and that he was able to fool the whole world into believing that he was alive the entire time. We can thank John Jones for this part. Now, while Clark is fine with his position, Lois on the other hand isn't, and she has been bugging Perry ever since for not giving Clark his old position back. Now, I don't want to go into full details for all the things that is going to happen in my pitch, because if I have to, we'll be here all day. But some of the scenes that will happen will be scenes like Henry making his steel suit, Bloodsport mercilessly killing some people to show us just how ruthless he is in this movie compared to how he was in the Suicide Squad, and Clark, Lois and Martha having cute scenes of them making arrangements for the wedding plans. Some of the most important scenes from the first to the second act will be a conversation between Clark and his mom, where she tells him that she wants to see Clark's Kryptonian ship because 1, she hasn't seen it yet, and 2, she's interested in seeing the technology that brought her son back to life. And then when Clark takes her, she'll be very interested in studying the ship. I have a reason for this, plus it will make sense in the movie because aside from planning her son's wedding, she literally has nothing else to do. Studying her son's Kryptonian ship will be a lot of fun for her. This is where we then cut to important scenes from the second act, where Clark hears people screaming in a building and goes to it. But before he does, he tells Lois where the building is, so she will know where he's going. Clark arrives at the place to know the situation, and this is where he finally meets with Bloodsport one-on-one. This is where things get very interesting, because the first encounter between Bloodsport and Superman will be where Bloodsport takes the kryptonite bullet and puts Superman in a coma. After we see signs of Superman underestimating Bloodsport, and we see a few fight scenes between both of them, Bloodsport will take him down with the kryptonite bullet. It will be unexpected for Superman when Bloodsport does pull the trigger. Clark won't see it coming, and also this is where the black Superman suit gets ruined as well. It will be pierced by Bloodsport through the kryptonite bullet, and when he gets to the ICU, in order to get the bullet out, the surgeons are gonna have to rip through the costume some more. So after Lois has found him, taken him to the ICU and saved his life with the help of the doctors in the ICU, this is where Clark wakes up and Lois breaks down and throws her frustrations at him. This to me will be the most important scene in the movie because this is where we will know what has been bothering Lois this entire time. Right here will be where Lois tells Clark how she feels and what's been bothering her the whole movie. This is where she will get both emotional and angry at the same time, telling him that he goes to war and fight battles against aliens, monsters and assassins without understanding that he has someone back at home who constantly worries and hopes that he comes back in one piece and not in pieces by his enemies. She tells Clark that she understands that he is Superman and that he is gonna do what he has to do to keep the world safe. But she also needs him to not only understand that he has loved ones who constantly worry and care for his safety, but he also has a kid on the way as well. This scene will be Amy Adams at her best because we finally give her some character moments. Moments that look like he's been culminating since Man of Steel. The goal of this scene is to make us feel and relate to what Lois is feeling at the moment. Understanding where she's coming from where she says that she's happy that Superman does good to the world, but also feeling for her because she's still dealing with the trauma of losing the love of her life in the past event. And even though she has him back now again, she's scared that she might lose him all over again, which is why she lashes out on Clark in the ICU. And it also explains why she was a bit down in the beginning of my pitch. So after all this, we know two main things. 1. Superman is in the ICU recovering slowly. And 2. Bloodsport has a mission of killing the rest of Lex's competition and there is no one to stop him. With Superman recovering in the ICU, this is where Henry chooses to be Steel, and he goes by himself to try and stop Bloodsport. Now while all that is happening, Martha will give Clark a call to check up on him and see if he's alright. This is where Clark then asks for advice from his mom because he now knows what's bothering Lois. And he doesn't know how to fix it. He doesn't know the right words to say to Lois to make her feel better. Martha will then give him some advice and tell him to look at things from Lois' perspective. However, as Clark and Martha are having a discussion, this is where Clark sees the TV and knows where Bloodsport is and what he's trying to do. He also sees someone else on TV trying to stop Bloodsport but isn't succeeding in any way. This is where Superman will realize that he can't be in the ICU anymore, that he has to do something. Even if he hasn't fully recovered and he doesn't have 100% of his powers back, he must still try and do something. But here's the thing, he doesn't have a suit anymore. The black suit he has been wearing has been ripped apart now, and he needs a new one. This is where Martha tells him that she may have something ready for him, something that she's been working on ever since she came to the Kryptonian ship, and she was hoping that Clark would try it on. That she was not expecting him to try it this early, but since he is in need of a new costume, then hopefully that the one that she has already is more than enough. Clark will try it on and the costume will be great. It's going to be a combination of the new 52 costume with the classic and modern costume. The costume will be looking bright, hopeful and modern. But apart from that, the costume will have a deeper meaning. It will be a meaning of accepting both sides of himself, both alien and human side of himself. The costume may look alien, but it has a much brighter color and it was done by his mom. The costume will look awesome and it will look much better than his last superhero costumes. Once Clark tries it on, Martha will then ask him if it's okay and he will reply to her that it is perfect. He then hugs his mom and flies off to help Steel. So now we are in the final fight of the movie, and this is how I want it to go. Superman won't take down Bloodsport because it's too easy for him. That would be for Steel. What Superman has to do is save the people that Bloodsport is trying to kill. Bloodsport has planted a bomb in a company that Lex wants taken out. Superman will have to go and save every single person despite the fact that he knows that he's not 100%. And Steel has been fighting Bloodsport, but he can't really take him down with just strength and agility because Bloodsport is a trained killer. Steel has to use his head and his environment to take him down. And Superman, despite the fact that he's not 100%, will have to find a way to save all the people from the building. This part in the movie, being the final battle and the final act, will have to be really tense because Superman isn't 100%, so he has to work together with the people he's going to save. Basically, it's going to have to be a team effort between the people that Bloodsport is trying to kill and Superman. This will be a payoff to the beginning of the movie where Superman just saved people with ease, but now he has to listen and think of how he's going to save everyone. I really hope you guys understand what I just said here. In the end, everything will turn out fine with Superman saving everyone because of their teamwork, and Steel will defeat Bloodsport because of the use of his environment. Now, I know that I didn't end my pitch in a climatic battle between Superman and Bloodsport, that I made Steel take down Bloodsport instead, but my reason for this is to make Steel very useful in the movie, and I wanted the goal for this fanfiction to develop Superman and his supporting characters a little bit more. The epic climatic battle for Superman in the third act will happen in my next sequel pitch. However, while Superman doesn't have a third act battle with Bloodsport, after Steel has taken him down, I'll have Superman talk to him before the cops come over and arrest him to put him in Bel Rev. Maybe the reason why Bloodsport was a little caring and not a full-blown killer in the Suicide Squad was because of the words Superman told him before he got arrested, and also because he was friends with Rick Flag. After all this, we'll have one more conflict to resolve, and that's the Clark and Lois issue. The last time we saw them, they were in a heated argument. So the next scene will be Clark waiting for her in their apartment. She will show up and she will want to apologize for what she said, but Clark stops her and asks for the ring back. She gives it back to him and he says that he never actually asked her to marry him. This is where he will give her his speech of why he has to be Superman, but will also promise never to neglect her and their baby, that he will never take them for granted. He will assure Lois that her and the baby are who he thinks of first. And while he cannot promise that he will always make it back, he will always try to do so because of them. And then he will ask her to marry him and she will say yes. Now, I had a whole line that I wanted Clark to say, and I originally wanted to say it in this video, but I'll save you guys the embarrassment. If you guys want to know the line that I wrote for Clark, then let me know down in the comments below. Then the final scene of the movie will be Clark and Lois getting married to each other. So this is what I want in the next Man of Steel sequel. This is a little bit of an idea of how I personally want it to be done. One that feels grounded and personal, but engaging and interesting. And it has to do with some of the main characters of Superman mythos. I hope that you guys are able to understand my idea for this video. If you did understand my ideas, then let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let me know what you consider the strongest and weakest part of my page. And again, criticize it like you would do if you saw it on the big screen. Also, if you understand my ideas and you like it, but you think you have one a little bit better, then let me know down in the comments below. I'll be interested to know the villain you will use for the next sequel for Man of Steel and how you will structure your own story as well. Plus, if you like my ideas and you think that there are ways you can make it better, let me know that as well. Anyways, with that being said, have a lovely day and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.
That's how I put Superman in the ICU. Good job, Deadshot. The name's Bloodsport. Get it right, you mother...